Hey, hi everyone. This is Sai from Let's Upgrade. So let's talk about how to get your certificate. It's very simple. You will see two links in the description. Number one is the place where you have to go and mark your attendance. Marking your attendance tells us, like, okay, you are a legit student who have attended this particular session. Link number two is your assignment. This is where your 90% of the priority is. You have to go and submit the assignment that is given to you in this particular session. Once you're done submitting that assignment, we will be evaluating that. We will send you an email. If you get the passing criteria, then only we will give you the certificate on a particular date that is mentioned again in the description. Please check these three things, and this is the way how you will get a certificate from Let's Upgrade. Number one, mark your attendance. Number two, just go ahead and upload your assignment. Check for the email that you have received it, yes or no. What is the feedback that you have received from your trainer? Number three, check on which date the certificates will be released. Thank you. Bye. All the best. Happy learning.
Okay, all right. Welcome everyone. I hope you all are excited for this session. Welcome back to the Let's Upgrade series on how we can generate things with AI. And this session is really the one which has been requested a lot. People really want to understand that how they can use something like Stable Diffusion in their day-to-day life. People could be from tech, non-tech background. These could be, you can say, students, enthusiasts in the field of AI, ML, back-end, front-end development, full-stack developers, or could be digital marketing people, could be people working in academics, people working in different walks of life. Ideally, generative models are not just for developers; they are for everyone. So. If you have to take the agenda of what we are doing today, well, in this live session we are going to learn about Stable Diffusion a lot. So this is really an important session for anyone who wants to get started with Stable Diffusion. Okay, and I'll not waste much of your time in introduction or explaining you things. We will dive deep straight within next few seconds, but just to cover up things, we will initially start off with some theory. We'll not go dive into mathematics. We will not cover the architecture by layer, but we will talk about how the architecture of Stable Diffusion works. We'll talk about what it is made of and how does it actually, what is the logic of Stable Diffusion. Okay, we'll discuss that at very high level. Then we will take off points that how we can install Stable Diffusion in our laptops to run it locally. We will discuss in depth about how we can run it for free online, because many of us won't be able to get a hardware which can support Stable Diffusion, and you will be surprised to know that Stable Diffusion doesn't actually require a lot of hardware. Nowadays, the gaming laptops, even the budget gaming laptops, are more than enough to run Stable Diffusion. But for many of us who are into office space where we do digital marketing and all, we might not have a GPU based solution. Or but if you have even something as equivalent to as an i5, i7 of latest gen, 7 gen, 8 gen, 9 gen ka bhi chalega. Even these laptops with decent amount of RAM can work. Of course, slower. I'll talk about all this. Cover all this installation part online. I'll show you that how you can run it. Then we will talk about some different strategies, some different ways in which Stable Diffusion can be used to generate art. Okay, so with that being said, let's start. What is Stable Diffusion? So firstly, when I talk about Stable Diffusion, see, it is first of all open source. When I say open source, it means it's free of cost available. So for all the companies like OpenAI, Gemini, and other models which are in the paid series, Stable Diffusion is a strong alternative to generate AI art free of cost. Okay, now it was earlier released in 2022. So almost say we are in the diffusion market by last 2.5 years. We are playing with this model. Okay, now initially this model was trained on a huge amount of data. 2.3 billion images were used to train something like a Stable Diffusion. And if I'm not wrong, Runway ML and University of Munich departments were involved in creating this model. Okay, and yeah, we are just celebrating 1 year एनिवर्सरी कि स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन को आके 1 year से ज़्यादा हो गया. 1 डेढ़ साल पहले स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन 3 का आर्किटेक्चर आया था. We'll talk about these patterns also. Okay, and they are really good. Stable Diffusion 3 बहुत बढ़िया है. बिकॉज इट ऑल्सो यूजेस इट इनकॉर्पोरेट्स अ न्यू आर्किटेक्चर. ये नए टाइप के ट्रांसफॉर्मर हैं जिसके अंदर मल्टी मॉडल डिफ्यूजन लगता है. व्हाट इट इज वी विल ऑल्सो टॉक अबाउट इट, बट इट आउट परफॉर्म्ड एट दैट पॉइंट मिड जर्नी, डॉल ई. ये जो डाली जो ओपन की तरफ से है, मिड जर्नी है, आइडोग्राम के कुछ ये अलग अलग मॉडल्स हैं जो बिल्कुल आपको हेल्प करते हैं इमेज जनरेशन में. दीज आर सम competitors who help you generate Gen AI models and based on different architectures, of course. But this Stable Diffusion 3 was in craze because of the reason कि ये बहुत ज़्यादा compatible and powerful है in the Gen AI domain. Now, what is Stable Diffusion actually used for? What are the use cases? So, of course, we have the complete part in which I'll discuss different features. But ideally, Stable Diffusion is used for content generation. ये generative model है, and it can generate images for us based on our prompts and do image to image generation and different things. So all the Instagram feed that you see nowadays, which uses AI images, AI generated art, Stable Diffusion is something that can help you with it. Okay, so even if you are into digital marketing, you are into content creation, you are into advertise something, you are into creating your own content, you want to be on the pace with AI, आप AI को सीखना चाह रहे हो, you want to upskill yourself, you want to learn the latest trends. So Stable Diffusion is a good series to watch. This is a good session to get started with it. Okay, now what is Stable Diffusion? How does this work? Okay, so first of all, it is a deep learning based architecture. Now, in my series, if you have been following what I teach at Let's Upgrade, you'd realize that we talk in depth about sometimes about deep learning architecture, what are neural layers, how what is deep learning to begin with, but we are not covering that today. But in short, deep learning is a way in which how any intelligent system is supposed to learn things. So also we discussed at some point what are transformers and how they work. So ये बिल्कुल एक encoder decoder architecture based ही model है. What it does is it can take input in different ways, image हो या text हो. Like for an example, I'm showing you in this example an astronaut riding a horse है ना, and this is going on text encoder. Okay, so encoder model क्या करता है? What is the use of encoder model? So encoder model basically translates your input into encoding formats. डेप्थ में नहीं जाएंगे. देन वी इनिशियलाइज इट विद नॉइज. सो नॉइज क्या है, डी नॉइजिंग क्या है, आई एम कमिंग टू इट राइट नाउ, आई एम कमिंग टू इट. बट एट दिस पॉइंट एट दिस स्लाइड आई वांटेड टू फोकस ऑन दैट इट टेक्स अ एनकोडर, देयर इज अ डिफ्यूजन मॉडल जो डिफ्यूजन का काम करता है, एंड फाइनली अ डिकोडर दैट जनरेट्स द इमेज. So diffusion model is actually inspired by the concept of diffusion in physics. So diffusion अगर science में पढ़ा है, like when particles spread out है ना, you can say in the areas of high concentration to low concentration. So वो वाला कॉन्सेप्ट यहाँ पर यूज किया है इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ डीप लर्निंग. डिफ्यूजन मॉडल्स के अंदर क्या होता है कि हम ये नॉइज के रिलेट में बात करें, द प्रोसेस ऑफ डेटा स्पेस में नॉइज कैसे आ रही है, विल टॉक अबाउट इट. सो द मॉडल स्टार्ट्स विद समथिंग लाइक अ रैंडम नॉइज. नॉइज का क्या मतलब है? सो इफ यू रिमेंबर वी यूज्ड टू यूज दैट CRT TVs. आई डोंट नो, मैनी ऑफ यू विल नॉट बी फ्रॉम दैट जोन, बट अगर आपको पता है, बिफोर एलईडी एलसीडीज देयर वाज CRT TVs जिसके अंदर अगर डिश उड़ जाए, सैटेलाइट वाज नॉट वर्किंग, इन दैट केस द टीवी यूज्ड टू गो कंप्लीटली नॉइज आती थी स्क्रीन के ऊपर. You have seen that glitch. If anything is glitching, it is completely noise in front of you. Okay, so noise means something like that. In fact, like I can help you visualize noise since my screen is visible. Okay, noise image if you want to see. So you will see these images जो आपके सामने आ रहे हैं. So this is your old CRT TV का image. This is white noise. These are all noise basically in an image. Okay, so you can see and visualize what noise means. So even if you look at this particular image, this image is of a human, but you see there's a lot of noise in the image. And even if you look at well, this is something that they have managed to reduce noise from. Actually, this is the output of diffusion model. But if you look over here, बीच में you can see Saturn is noise में है in central part, and you can see this image has a lot of noise. Okay, so this is what noise is. Ideally, stable diffusion तो कुछ ऐसे start करता है full noise के साथ. Okay, so let us go back. Let us go to click on present and present. So yes, so that is what it means. Okay, so the model starts with random noise and iteratively refines. So diffusion model, जो diffusion process है, that is where we are separating noise and generating a high quality image. So generative model it is a type of an unsupervised model, है ना? So it discovers and learns pattern in the input image through your prompt, through the noise it tries to decode that. Decode करके it gives you a sophisticated image. So diffusion process. Let's talk about what is happening between the text encoder and decoder. See, encoder is only trying to interpret what your input is and trying to create a encoding that the model can understand. Okay, what are you asking? That's the role of encoder. It translates something to the diffusion model so that diffusion can now understand your free language, your free input. And noise patch is helping the model to start off with. Okay, वो noise से आप start करो and try to diffuse it into the input that the user has given you. And how does that diffusion process work? We will discuss that. And from the diffusion, the output is given to decoder, and then decoder finally generates the output image. So what is the diffusion process? So diffusion process in stable diffusion has two main components. One is the forward process, which is the forward diffusion process, and the other is the backward process, which is the backward denoising process. So what is the forward pass? So forward pass mein kya ho raha hai? This phase involves gradually adding noise to the data. So on the very left, we have actually an image of a cat, okay? And you see gradually as we are doing forward pass in x0, x1 till the final stage, we completely transform this image into a noise. So over several steps until the image is pure noise, this process is mathematically designed to be reversible. The idea of reaching here mathematically, a model architecture ऐसा designed है कि we can reverse noise back to an image. But catch क्या है कि during this phase the model learns to reverse the noise as a second process. Starting from random noise, the model iteratively denoises the image, ठीक है? Multiple steps लगते हैं image को denoise करने के लिए, and gradually starts to reconstruct a high quality image through the reverse process. Okay. So ideally, see this image में क्या है? We are adding noise and removing noise to the same process. Okay. Noise addition and removal using stable diffusion process. If I have to show you, so what you will realize is that ये image ज़्यादा better explain कर रही है what I want to explain you. ठीक है? Right click, open image in new tab. So you will realize over here what is happening is we have a photo of a dog actually. Okay, now we are completely deconstructing it into noise, and by noise we are changing some probability, we are changing some samples, and we are getting an image back of dog, but this is completely new image. Okay, so what the model does is the model learns to denoise into a different probability, but at the same time model is trained, it's a transformer architecture, it is trained to decode things on probabilistic nature. So थोड़ा भी probability change होगा, model still knows how to construct a dog, model को capability है, model knows what a dog looks like. Okay, but the output will be completely different even if you tweak a little bit of probabilities here and there. So that's the main idea of how stable diffusion is supposed to do the forward and backward propagation. Although these things change a little bit with the stable diffusion 3 architecture. Okay, मतलब जो 3 आ गया है, it is a multi-modal diffusion process. Okay, so ये architecture क्या है? It separates the weight of an image and the language representation. Completely image और language differently process होते हैं through distinct pathways. So I will also let me also show you this also. Stable diffusion 3 architecture. Let me Google this images, and things will make better sense to you. Okay, let me just search one image. Wait, I'll search for MMIDD. I think I'll find a very simple image, okay, which can help you understand the architecture in short little bit. I usually क्या है Google पे I find images very good, but at least at this point, text and image. Let us say that. Okay, something like this. इसको we'll put it and let us see how does it work on it. Architecture. Ideally, this is correct, but I don't want to confuse you with you can say a lot of complex architectures. I'm pretty sure इसके ऊपर कोई ना कोई simple architecture मिल जाना चाहिए. I think whatever I can see from my eyes, ये model complicate कर रहे हैं. Okay, Never mind. I do not actually want to. I think yes, here it is. Stable diffusion 2 model architecture है, but this will still do the work. It should do the trick. समथिंग लाइक बट मेरा बोलने का गोल क्या है कि द लेटेस्ट स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन के अंदर क्या है, वी हैव सेपरेट प्रोसेसिंग पाथवेज, ठीक है। इमेज और टेक्स्ट इंफॉर्मेशन को हम सेपरेटली लेयर बाय लेयर प्रोसेस करते हैं, देन वी जनरेट इमेजेस, बट ऑफ कोर्स ये टेक्निकल है, जैसे हम जाते ही नहीं है, ठीक है। वी डोंट वांट टू गो देयर। लेट अस स्टार्ट ऑफ विद नाउ अंडरस्टैंडिंग डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स के स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन is good at what things, okay? So see, by this point, we have understood how stable diffusion works. What is a big picture, high level पे how it is supposed to work. We didn't talk about auto encoders क्या करते हैं, UNet क्या है, denoising engine क्या है, ठीक है. But overall हमने बात कर ली. एक encoder है, text ले रहा है. There is a you can say denoising engine और उसके बाद decoder, ठीक है. I think this is more than enough. So if I put it all together, see, you give a prompt. A prompt देते you type a creative prompt like a futuristic sunset of a cyber park with neon lights, कुछ ऐसा. So text encoder क्या करता है? Text encoder translates your prompt into a numerical representation, which is like a guidance now. And random noise क्या करती है? So stable diffusion starts with a blank canvas. एकदम empty canvas लेंगे हम, फुल्ली लेटेंट स्पेस जो स्टैटिक होगी, नॉइज होगी, उस सुपर नॉइजी स्पेस से ले लेंगे. नाउ देयर इज एन इटरेटिव डीनॉइजिंग. डीनॉइजिंग क्या है? यहाँ पर यूनिट करके आर्किटेक्चर है जो काफी हैंडी आता है. एंड सो दिस आर्किटेक्चर इन स्टेप बाय स्टेप्स डिनॉइज करता है, एंड देन फ्रॉम लेटेंट वी गेट एन इमेज यूजिंग अ डिकोडर. ठीक है, समझ में आ गया? सबको समझ में आ गया? इट इज वेरी क्लियर हाउ स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन सपोज टू वर्क. नाउ व्हाट आर द थिंग्स दैट द स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन कैन डू? So the very first thing, in fact, all the four images that you see on your screen right now, they have been generated using Stable Diffusion. Okay, so Stable Diffusion isn't just one trick thing. Okay, it has multiple things. It extends to from just a simple text to image converter upon diverse things that you can do with it. So the very first thing is text to image feature. See, this is what we primarily discussed. Okay, a prompt दो, ये चीज बना दो, and the model is making it. Okay, so that's something the model is good at. So the very first thing is an anime style. I can teach you to generate images like this. Second is little photorealistic style. I can also teach you to generate images using stable diffusion like this. Third is fictional, ये कैसे add करना है. Fourth is like a landscape styles images. इसके be different prompts. I can help you with this. But we are going to do things like this. Then the other is image to image feature. See, it starts with an existing image. Yeah, is also possible with stable diffusion. In fact, you remember I showed you the example of dog when I was teaching you how a forward and backward process work. Forward में एक dog की image गई, reverse में एक dog की image आई, completely different. Similarly, if I do a high level drawing of an apple like this, so I took a high level drawing on an apple. मैंने stable diffusion को बोला कि take this and generate a realistic apple for me. So right में इसका output दिख रहा है. So it turns your photo to different thing. Like for example, मेरे पास एक pet है dog, मैंने उसकी फोटो ली और मैं उसको बोलूंगा इसको cyber punk dog बना दो, तो वो मेरे dog को cyber punk style में it can generate a sketch out of it. I can add more features. इसको oil painting बना दो, इसको sketch बना दो, it make it photorealistic, it make it look like anime. Okay, all such things are playable. Next feature which is really important and interesting is known as inpainting. Like I am a big fan of this, and you will be surprised to know that these features are being used a lot with many industries. Like I personally know people who work with companies like car देखो हो गया, car trade हो गया, spinny हो गया. So these companies, they use this to remove any imperfections from the images, like reflection आ रहा है, background में कुछ visible है, there is some sort of shadow, some sort of things visible in the mirror of the car that make it less appealing. So or maybe यू आर इन अ प्रोसेस के आपने एआई को बोला कि मेक मी समुराई फाइटिंग इन जापानीज कल्चर इन देयर ट्रेडिशनल वॉर जोन, ऐसा कुछ भी आपने प्रॉम्प्ट डाली, एंड द मॉडल इज एबल टू जनरेट यू द आउटपुट ऑफ द इमेज, बट you are not very satisfied with the clothes of samurai, for an example, or maybe just the hat of the samurai. You are not very much happy with that particular result, but this image is so good. इसका background, the cinema, the cinematics, color contrast, everything is working so good for you that you just want to replace something. And in fact, if you see the example on your screen right now, something that I'm showing you, see, we were really happy with the background, but we don't want that cat over here. Okay, now cat fans will be a little disappointed. Maybe you can take it other way example. We don't want a dog over here. Whatever you want to understand. What you can do is you can just sketch around the cat. You can just tell the model कि हमें इसके अंदर अब painting in painting करनी है. What does this do is that you are teaching the model that you have to make the other canvas fixed. जो भी noising denoising होगी वो बाकी image पे नहीं होगी, but just the selected section. So again, how does it do? It uses again a segmentation model, auto segmentation models. बहुत अच्छे अच्छे आ गए हैं market में. You just sketch around a little bit. It will try to detect boundaries. Boundary detection model. It can begin with as simple as a computer vision CV2 की library के साथ आप edge detections करके भी कर सकते हो. But again, these are really robust things. They are not as simple as edge detections. They are really good at understanding through your in painting के exactly क्या change मांग रहे हो आप. And these models can then also understand from your text whatever you're inputting that replace the cat with dog. So encoder is taking this input, adding this into the inbuilding zone. अब जो canvas बनेगा जिस पर draw करना है, this canvas will not be a blank canvas. This canvas will already have components apart from your defined zone. वो zone के अंदर अब noising आएगी, वो zone के अंदर now your prompt will come in. There will be a process of denoising with basis of what you've asked, and then the decoder will generate a new output, which is something like an in painting. So it can help you remove unwanted things. So in fact, like how we remove objects on the background, how we remove replace things, we change things, the magic of AI जो आजकल phones में दिख रहा है, everywhere दिख रहा है. So somewhere they are inspired by this architecture, and that is a concept in painting. Exactly इसका opposite क्या हो सकता है? It could be out painting. You guessed it right. So for an example, we have an image that we generated with say Stable Diffusion, and the white bordered thing that you're able to see on the screen. Suppose this image was of this original size. Okay, so now I want to outside पे जाके painting करनी है. I want to make this image grow on the outer segments so that it captures more of the things in the room. So we can generate new content outside the borders of the image, and so we are basically extending the image. So outpainting is used to extend the image. Okay, so it could be anything. Maybe you're into landscape photography, you want to work beyond the edges of a portrait, you want to go beyond that. So that's where outpainting can really be helpful. You will be surprised to know कि ये तीन चार चीजें नहीं है जो स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन करता है. There is much more than that. Stable diffusion can help you upscale an image. So I give you an example of a model in the left which has a blurred image. Now using that we can upscale it to something like available on the right side. Okay, of course it might look like it has a lot of structure into it. You can smoothen it out in further if you want, but this is also a style. Na? This is like a type of an image that shows very good sharpness. So such features can also be done. So enlarge करनी है किसी इमेज को, उसका रेजोल्यूशन हाई करनी है, यू वांट टू ऑफन ऐड मोर डिटेल्स टू मेक इट लुक इवन बेटर. अपस्केलिंग इज अ फीचर दैट यू कैन आल्सो यूज विद स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन. So similarly, there are many more things like ControlNet and some fine tuning of this model to adapt to your style. Manlo, you have 4, 5, 7, 8, 10 different examples, and you want the model to learn from your art and generate content like your art. So you can customize the model also to do that, which is like a more creative control over the model. ये थोड़ा advanced settings में चला जाता है. So ControlNet has its own learning curve. Training the model using fine-tuning techniques like low-rank adaptations or LORA is also yet topic of discussion for another you can say session. So if you're really interested, you really want to learn how to fine-tune a stable diffusion model using LoRa, or you want to understand about ControlNet, some advanced applications of you can say stable diffusion, you can always put that in comment. You can so put that in the comment of the video, not on the live chat. Live chat it will be here. Like this video, put your comments, put your thoughts. connect with the Let's Upgrade team. Let the mods know what are the next sessions you would be interested to learn. Okay, we can always bring that, and it's a very high possibility that we will read your comments. Why? Because number one, we are here for you. Number two, we want to deliver things that you want. So whatever you request, we take that. We see where the market is going. Whatever is needed, we bring experts and teach you those things. Right. So if at all the audience is interested to learn more about the stable diffusion, we can obviously bring that up. Now is the part that I can help you with the installation part. Okay, so for the installation part, I think I'll walk you through the stable diffusion repo. I'll help you clone it, and to get the best experience, you need a GPU. पीपल हैव ऑल्सो क्लेम्ड कि 2 GB वाला जीपीयू में भी इन्होंने स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन के स्मॉल मॉडल्स चलाए हैं. फॉर बेटर एक्सपीरियंस आई रिकमेंड एटलीस्ट समथिंग टू गो विद 6 or 8 GB वी रैम, वरना गुड सीपीयू और रैम भी चलेगा. So I'll take you to the actual website. Let me close this demo. Let me remove these things. Now we search for automatic 111 stable diffusion git repo. क्या है? Automatic 1111 स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन गेट रैपो, जो आपको फर्स्ट गूगल पे आउटपुट मिलेगा स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन वेब यूआई. यू कैन जस्ट सिंपली गो ओवर हियर. Now, if you look at this licensing, kya hai? It is AGPL 3 license, which means it is completely free for non-commercial applications like students use करना चाह रहे हैं, personal level पे use करना चाह रहे हो. Even as a organization you can use it, but you will not be able to sell it as a product. उसमें कुछ टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस होते हैं. सो अनटिल एंड अनलेस आप इसके ऊपर लेके प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हो, इसको बेचने की कोशिश करने वाले हो, क्या चीज को एज अ सॉफ्टवेयर स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन को बेचना चाहोगे, तो यू कैन नॉट. There will be some catch over here, although it is also available in full open source settings also. But images, whatever you will be able to generate from this, you'll be able to sell it for free. You'll be able to use it for free. It is your proprietary, until and unless you are claiming that you will be earning money as a product. कि हम मैं इसको टूल बना के कल एक वेबसाइट बना दूंगा, और वेबसाइट पे आई विल टेक मनी फ्रॉम पीपल दैट यू कैन यूज माई वेबसाइट टू जनरेट इमेजेस. नहीं, but whatever you are generating from these images from their repository, no problem at all. Completely open source है, मतलब partial closed open source license होता है GPL3, but it is still open to private people, university students, college researchers, anyone can bindas, you can use this. AGPL has no problem with that. Okay, so if I scroll you down, you will realize that this is a simple web UI that you will get. I'll help you understand what are steps, what are CGF scale क्या होते हैं, seed क्या होता है. I'll talk about all these things. But अभी के लिए, if you have to install it, what you can do is you can just scroll down. See, these are exhaustive list of features. Okay, I walked you through few of the features, है ना, like outpainting, inpainting, color sketch के बारे में बात नहीं की, but I talked about text to image and upscaling के बारे में बात की. We discussed so many things. Resizing, 4 GB video card चाहिए, also 2 GB works mentioned है. Then when we talked about different things, है ना, high resolution, how do you do that, image to image alternative, some features they are talking about it, and so much more that they're describing that this can do. Installation and running. To install and run it, you need an NVIDIA GPU or AMD GPU, but NVIDIA is recommended, and anything like 8 GB 4060 graphic card is really good. Windows 11 10 पे इंस्टॉल करना चाह रहे हो, download this and extract its content, run update.bat and run.bat. That's the most simple installation you can do. Automatic installation करना चाह रहे हो तो install Python 3.10. Now why? Newer version of Pythons do not support torch. Checking add Python to path will be beneficial, but basically क्या है, Python install कर लो and install git and then directly clone this. यही वेबसाइट को क्लोन करना है and simply run web UI user.bat as from Windows Explorer as a normal non-administrative user. लिनक्स के कमांड्स यहाँ पर हैं, बट अगेन द बेस्ट थिंग अबाउट टुडे इज कि मैं आपको कंप्लीटली लोकल इंस्टॉलेशन करके ट्यूटोरियल नहीं दे रहा हूँ. दिस इज नॉट द एजेंडा. आई ऑल्सो वांट टू कवर पीपल हु विल बी यूजिंग स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन फॉर फ्री विदाउट इंस्टॉलेशन. So the very first thing that we will do is we can go to Hugging Face. Okay, let me search for Hugging Face Stable Diffusion 3.5. ऐसे गूगल करके देखता हूँ, and you see Stability AI dash Stable Diffusion large. If I click on it, okay, I will see Okay, let me take it a little slow. You are following this video, है ना? So one thing is कि first pay attention over here, है ना? Because I will be covering a lot of things. मैं बड़ नॉन स्टॉप बोलते जाने वाला हूँ अभी. मैं रुक नहीं रहा हूँ कहीं पे भी. So just follow my screen. बाद में इसको वीडियो को recap करके you can rewind it. You can always come back, play, pause, learn at your pace. But for now, just absorb these things. I'm clicking on this page. Once I click on this page, this is the page, this is what will look for all of you. You will realize that down here you will find spaces that are currently using this. Hai na? So let me click on this space, the very first space, and you will realize that I reach over here. But the most important catch, you'll have to make sure that you're already logged in on Stable Diffusion. Hai na? So like Llama3 is my username and the profile is logged in. And since I've logged in, I can utilize this thing. Okay. ये एक तरीका है स्टेबल डिफ्यूजन को रन करने का. अदर इज द mage.space.com. mage.space.com पे if I go mage, so they also partially support to generate images, but flux style के अंदर क्या है flux style अभी के लिए छोड़ देते हैं, we are not going technical. And you can use flux to generate for free. एक तरीके का इंजन है using which you can generate images. Okay, there are different engines through which you can generate images, and flux point 2 भी आ गया है, and mango engine भी है. You can view all architectures through which you can generate images. Flux बढ़िया है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, use it and you can add features from here. I'll talk about ये features होते क्या है, ठीक है. सपोज ये भी नहीं चल रहा है, आई थिंक देर इज वन मोर वेबसाइट नोन एज desgo.com. desgo.com पर जाओगे, सो इवन दिस वेबसाइट न्यू वीडियो मॉडल अवेलेबल है, ठीक है, बट वी नीड टू डू टेक्स्ट टू इमेज यूजिंग फ्लक्स. इनका भी फ्लक्स मॉडल आई थिंक इज अवेलेबल. यू कैन रन इट इवन विदाउट लॉगिंग इन. फ्री के अंदर आप इसको यू कैन रन थ्रू दिस मॉडल. ओके, सो दैट्स रियली इंटरेस्टिंग, a nice way to do it. Other features अगर ढूंढने हैं, so creator dot नाइट कैफे, शायद नाइट कैफे डॉट स्टूडियो नाम है, creator dot night cafe dot studio. Come to this website and even you can try generating images over here. ये आपको हाई ड्रीम और फ्लक्स दोनों आर्किटेक्चर्स देता है. यू कैन ब्राउज मॉडल्स जिसके ऊपर प्रो लिखा है, दैट इज ऑफ कोर्स पेड. जिसके ऊपर जैसे गूगल इमेजिन है, और हाई ड्रीम फास्ट यहाँ पे फ्री में मिल जाता है आपको. वेरी गुड. And you can use flux, okay, for free. You can generate image, audio, video from here. Again, one interesting website that you can use. Now there are many and more places जहाँ पर आप free में generate कर सकते हो. I can also show you one more. For an example, QUAL quellxx.github stable UI. So this is again useful for generating images for free. यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हो Stable Diffusion is the model that we are using, but be little careful. ये website पे I can see some diffusion models which are cyber realistic, so it will follow cyber realistic image output. If you go for Nova Anime, this will try to generate anime style images. But if you go by mistake on hentai diffusion, let me warn you that this is pornography content, this is adult content, this is unfiltered, unstable diffusion, okay, through which you can generate images without any filters. But that's just a warning that I'll give you, that these models can also play around in all imagination possible. Again, if you want some more, the list is exhaustive. Crayon.com पे चले जाओ. Crayon.com पे you can generate images like this, and you will see that your imagination is just stopping you from generating this. ये क्या है? Eagle with a Taco Bell. Okay, interesting. I don't know who generated this, but cool. These are all pro model outputs. But of course, you can always start off with free. फ्री के अंदर यू कैन जनरेट क्वालिटी बेस होगी, विच इज़ फाइन. हमें तो सीखना है, यू हैव टू सी. स्टाइल यू कैन सिलेक्ट फ्रॉम हियर. आई विल टॉक अबाउट दिस थिंग्स, है ना. आई विल टॉक अबाउट सम सेटिंग्स. नहीं मन भर रहा, यू वांट सम मोर थिंग्स, देन hotpot dot AI is yet on the way through which you can generate images. And trust me, I can give you 10 more websites जहाँ पर आप फ्री के अंदर इमेज बना सकते हो. But I'll stop here, वरना I will start getting comments कि sir please start showing us how to generate image. Okay, so we will go there. We will start off with it. So see, the very first thing is that to generate an image, Let us go back to stable diffusion over here. We can give two type of prompts. Stable diffusion को. One is known as the positive prompt and another is known as negative prompt. So your prompt is actually in fact the most crucial part of generating the image. जितना सही prompt उतना better chance of getting image. Okay. So one thing is you will realize to work with stable diffusion, prompting is not as easy as it sounds to when we describe Gemini के इसको summarize कर दो, ये चीजें text में से निकाल दो, इसका ये table बना दो, okay? To make sure that your prompts are correct for stable diffusion models, there are a few things that you need to follow. Number one, be descriptive. Use vivid adjectives. Like for an example, don't tell I need a dog or maybe a golden retriever. Tell exactly vivid adjectives use karo. I need a fluffy golden retriever puppy with smooth hairs and clean coat. अगर यही चाहिए तो गिव मी अ विजार्ड विच इज कास्टिंग स्मेल स्पेल ओके बट इसमें क्या है यू नीड सम एडजेक्टिव्स give me an old wizard with white beard okay and a conical hat a wand in the hand and then casting spell so chances are you will get better image. Second is artistic styles. See, I told you my styles आपको बताता हूँ. So I'm talking about styles. See, there are different styles that you can mention. Like for example, यहाँ पर तो style mention नहीं कर सकते. But if you go over here or to some other example that I showed you, एक बार Desgo पे चलते हैं. Desgo.com. Text to image on flux. So यहाँ पर आप prompt लगा रहे हो and more options में you can go. Okay, we don't need it. I think Maze creator.cafe studio पे it will be better to explain ठीक है ना yes so यहाँ से you will see styles are different styles that you can choose from so what exactly are styles let me okay just give me a second sometimes my display turns off for HDMI ठीक है available okay so styles are like 2.5D anime ये style होता है striking artistic pose realistic anime है ना and things like black and white portrait color portrait there are so many styles that you can choose from in fact for models like this जहाँ पर prompt से काम चलाना है so even in prompt you can be very clear that photorealistic image चाहिए that is one style that you can explain the model to have then is the mood and the atmosphere so एपिक चाहिए बैटल सीन चाहिए सीरीन चाहिए ग्रीनरी चाहिए यू कैन सेट दैट एटमॉस्फेयर इन योर प्रॉम्प्ट क्वालिटी के बारे में बात कर सकते हो आई नीड अ 4K 8K मास्टरपीस सिनेमैटिक पीस focused piece sharp focus clear or background blurred you can talk about these things camera angles wide shot close shot macro shot okay na you can take these examples bring your imagination on paper so that's where I think a good prompt would work. And that's a little bit of prompt engineering guide for you when you're working with stable diffusions. Next thing is you will realize that stable diffusions also work with something known as negative prompts. So negative prompts are really helpful to explain the models things that you do not want. So for an example, if you're getting faces which are like mutated hands अगली लुकिंग थिंग्स हैं पुअरली ड्रॉन हैंड्स हैं ऐसे लिम्स टेढ़े मेढ़े बन रहे हैं हाथ पता चल रहा है उंगलियां दिख नहीं रही ठीक से फेस टेढ़ा मेढ़ा रहा है आंख ऊपर नीचे आ रही है ब्लरी आ रहा है सो जनरल बैडनेस लाइक डिसफिगर्ड है और दिस सो यू कैन ऐड दिस थिंग्स अनडिजायर्ड कंटेंट्स क्या है मुझे ब्लरी इमेज नहीं चाहिए मुझे अगली डिफॉर्म्ड बैड एनाटॉमी लो क्वालिटी okay so you can always mention this and this is known as negative prompting to tell AI what not to do AI को exactly हमें क्या करना है but थोड़ा बहुत गाइड कर सकते हैं what is not to be done then there are some advanced settings right over here like if we talk about what is a seed so seed is used to control how many times I remember I told you that एक अंदर एक मॉडल है which will take steps to reach from noise to your image तो कितने स्टेप फॉलो करने हैं so typical range of steps would be anywhere between 20-50 is a common for good results देखो zero तो would be a very less amount of step okay where are the steps okay so advanced settings width height guidance scale, number of inference step, ये रहा यहाँ पे, ये रहा number of steps. So anywhere between 20 to 50 is a good sample, but जितना number of step हम बढ़ा देंगे उतनी ही बार उसको प्रोसेसिंग करनी पड़ेगी. सो इफ वी आर इंक्रीजिंग नंबर ऑफ स्टेप्स, वी आर इंक्रीजिंग आवर प्रोसेसिंग कैपेसिटी ऑल्सो. सो जहां पर एक 20 स्टेप वाली इमेज को से फॉर एग्जाम्पल 30 सेकंड लग रहे हैं आउटपुट देने के लिए, वहीं पर 40-50 स्टेप्स को हो सकता है 1.5-2 मिनट लग जाए टू जनरेट द आउटपुट. सो नंबर ऑफ इन्फ्रेंस स्टेप्स ऑल्सो इंक्रीज इन्फ्रेंस कॉस्ट, increase computations, but they can improve the quality of your image generated. Recommendation setting मैंने आपको दे दी है, 20 to 50 is a good number to play with. Next is guidance scale या CFG scale बोल दो, whatever you want to talk about. You can take that settings, ठीक है ना. यहाँ पर ये रहा नंबर ऑफ स्टेप्स. फास्ट रखना है तो देखो 4 पे, नॉर्मल रखना है तो 20, और वेरी स्लो बट गुड 50. इसके बाहर तो ठीक है रख के ट्राई कर सकते हो, बट नॉर्मली 20 to 50 इज द रेंज टू प्ले विद स्टेप्स. गाइडेंस स्केल क्या है? सो दिस डिटरमाइंस हाउ स्ट्रांगली द AI विल फॉलो योर टेक्स्ट प्रॉम्प्ट. इसलिए इसको कई बार CFG को सिंपली गाइडेंस स्केल ही समझ लो अभी के लिए. So how strictly the diffusion model follows the prompt. Higher value makes output more closely match your prompt. So जैसे if I give you an example, if I tell the model to generate a golden retriever playing in the water, या playing in a park, ठीक है ना. सो अगर गाइडेंस स्केल मैंने लो रखी है, हो सकता है वो गोल्डन रिट्रीवर को कोई लेब्राडोर भी बनाते हैं, क्योंकि वो डॉग है एट द एंड एंड इट इज ट्राइंग टू फॉलो अ वेरी सिमिलर पैटर्न टू व्हाट आई एम आस्किंग इट. मैं जितना गाइडेंस स्केल को हाई कर दूंगा उतनी क्रिएटिविटी तो कम हो जाएगी. दिस विल इम्पैक्ट द क्रिएटिविटी. AI will allow to now strictly follow your prompt, sacrificing creativity, sacrificing interpretation skills. Maybe sometimes it can lead to too much artificial output, कि वो बहुत ही अगली सा भी लग सकता है आपका आउटपुट. सो CFG स्केल और गाइडेंस स्केल इज समथिंग दैट यू विल हैव टू प्ले अराउंड, कि एक बार में सेट नहीं होती. आइडियली अगर स्केल को लो रखना चाह रहे हो तो नंबर बिटवीन 1 to 5 इज लो. ये देखो गाइडिंग स्केल यहाँ पे, एंड नंबर बिटवीन 7 to 12 इज अ मीडियम रेंज. बेस्ट बैलेंस माना जाता है बिटवीन 4 to 7 के अंदर एक अच्छा बैलेंस है CFG स्केल का. और अगर इसको 7.5 प्लस कर दोगे तो इट इज वेरी नियर टू योर प्रॉम्प्ट, है ना. इनफैक्ट यहाँ पर 0 to 7.5 के बीच की रेंजेस, यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड मीडियम कहाँ पर होगा, 4 के आसपास कहीं पे होगा. सो वी कैन कीप एनीवेयर अराउंड 3.5. नाउ व्हाट इज सीड? तो सीड एक सिंपली अगर आपको मैं समझाऊं, इफ यू रियलाइज दैट आई टोल्ड यू दैट the architecture of stable diffusion is in a way that we can retrace or we can decode from noise back to image. तो अगर हम सीड को एक रैंडम नंबर पे सेट कर देंगे, ये कुछ भी हो सकता है, ये कोई भी वैल्यू हो सकती है, इसका कोई मतलब नहीं है, बस एक किसी भी एक वैल्यू पे रख दो, तो क्या होगा, बाय रनिंग द सेम प्रॉम्प्ट, बाय रनिंग द सेम सेटिंग, यू विल बी एबल टू जनरेट द सेम इमेज अगेन एंड अगेन. अगर आपने सीड को रेंडमाइज कर दिया है, if you are randomizing the seed, same prompt पे भी like generate a dog in the park, 10 बार रन करोगे हो सकता है 10 अलग अलग आउटपुट दे दे आपको. बट टू कीप आउटपुट रिपीटेड एक सीड को सेट कर सकते हो. फॉर नाउ लेट इट बी 0. ओके, दैट इज फाइन विद मी. नाउ दिस इज हाउ the guide of running through stable diffusion works. Okay, now we will see how we can generate different things with stable diffusion. Okay, now let us try to run some prompts. Okay, so since our goal is to generate something, चलो मान लो our goal is to generate a realistic wildlife animal photo, है ना. तो since goal क्या है, एक realistic photo चाहिए. So remember my tips, I told you how to get better image output. The prompt should start like a photo of subject. क्या होगा हमारा? So the very first line could be your subject itself. So suppose I want to generate an image of maybe like a lion. So that is image of lion, photo of lion. बैकग्राउंड क्या चाहिए, सीन क्या है. सीन कुड बी दिस कंट्रोल्स. क्या आपके मॉडल को समझ में आ रहा है कि इफ यू आर स्पेसिफाइंग एनी सीन, सो आई हैव टू टेक दैट. वरना क्या है, इफ यू डू नॉट प्रोवाइड सीन, क्या होगा, वेयर आर लायंस यूजुअली, दे आर इन देयर वाइल्ड हैबिटेट जंगल. सो यूजिंग द इंटेलिजेंस मॉडल अपने आप, मतलब when I say intelligence, I say training cycle. Whatever the model was trained on, it will pick the random background for wherever he's for wherever the model saw lions. Okay, it saw lions, but I could want a lion on a couch, I could want a lion on my bed, I could want lion in river, I could want lion in desert or forest or snow. So I can specify the scene. नॉट जस्ट दिस, थोड़ा बहुत अगर आपको फोटो खींचने का शौक है, इफ यू आर इनटू फोटोग्राफी, इफ यू रियली अंडरस्टैंड द थिंग्स, द क्वालिटीज विच कैन हेल्प यू मेक अ बेटर फोटो, so you will realize lighting has a large effect on how images look. डार्क स्टूडियो लाइटिंग करोगे, रिम लाइटिंग करोगे, सनसेट करोगे, ये रिम लाइटिंग समझते हो ना, वो डिफरेंट वेज इन विच आई थिंक यू विल, आई लीव यू टू दिस टॉपिक. आप डिफरेंट लाइटिंग इमेजेस को यूट्यूब करके समझ सकते हो. व्हाट आर ड्रामेटिक लाइटिंग क्या होती है, डिफरेंट वेज इन सिनेमेटिक लाइटिंग वर्क करती है. सो apart from it, you can also use words like फिल्मी स्टूडियो, डीएसएलआर पे मिररलेस पे क्लिक हुआ है, अल्ट्रा हाई क्वालिटी 8K फिल्म ग्रेन सिनेमेटिक स्टाइल, कोई लेंस लगाना चाह रहे हो, समथिंग सम लेयर सम फिल्टर लगाना चाह रहे हो, एंड that can do, you can enhance this image by adding, क्योंकि since आप वाइल्ड लाइफ फोटोग्राफी करने की ट्राई कर रहे हो, you can add a नेशनल ज्योग्राफिक फोटोग्राफर की, नेशनल ज्योग्राफिक फोटो ऑफ द ईयर की एग्जांपल के थ्रू बनाना है, प्रॉम्प्ट ऐसे बना सकते हो. इट विल बी द वाइल्ड लाइफ फोटोग्राफी कॉन्टेस्ट, इट विल बी समथिंग लाइक दैट. ओके, well you can one thing good, one good tip would be you use Gemini to generate more keywords that can help you get this thing. Now since we want realistic vision, so we can add that into our prompt. Okay, so I'll give you some example of how we can do that, है ना. तो यहाँ पर मैं लिखता हूँ नेचुरल जियोग्राफिक, यू कैन से वाइल्ड लाइफ फोटो ऑफ द ईयर. ठीक है, अब इससे क्या है, मूड सेट हो गया मॉडल का कि इट हैज टू टिक दैट, वो क्वालिटी होनी चाहिए वैसे. Of an elephant, okay, elephant trunk, okay, of an elephant trunk, pointing out in the elephant trunk, pointing towards the camera, walking down a busy street of Mumbai. Okay, and I'll say dark studio settings, comma, a city, night city. Again, these are some points I'm putting in. Okay, and trunk, bar. I'm adding few things so the model can try to listen to me. Trunk pointing upwards, मुझे ऐसा एलिफेंट चाहिए, and depth of field photography. Okay, and something like that. Now I'll see random है, width height ठीक है, I'm getting a ये, these are the ratio 10024 is to 10024 की इमेज बनेगी. Number of inference steps 30, guidance scale this, let me run this for you. So 0 GPU queue, successfully acquired GPU, waiting for the GPU to become available. You will see 30 steps के लिए run होगा ये, and after running 30 steps, I will get the output. Ah, nice. Not exactly a nightlife, but you see, it captured many things from my prompt, like ट्रंक पॉइंटिंग आउटवर्ड्स बहुत अच्छे से कैप्चर नहीं हुआ है, बट डेप्थ ऑफ फील्ड कैप्चर हुआ है, एंड डार्क स्टूडियो सेटिंग्स कैप्चर हुआ है. यू सी वो टायर्स के आसपास कार्स के अंदर, एंड लाइक द ओवरऑल थीम, जो बैकग्राउंड में भी आपको यू आर एबल टू सी दैट फ्लैट्स दे हैव अ डार्क स्टूडियो थीम, and trunk is partially pointing out. ठीक है, I can accept that. Depth of field photography है, you can see the background is blurring out. If you see top left side, the buildings are blurring out and the elephant is walking straight into me. I think that's where my prompt was leading to. So we can always play around with this. Guidance step को थोड़ा सा बढ़ा के we can play around with this. Guidance step को 6 रख के we will regenerate this image. Again, remember this is just an 8 billion model. You can always pick much more compatible models, but yes, now जैसे ही मैंने गाइडेंस स्टेप बढ़ा दिए, now it is a night time क्योंकि सबकी कार की स्ट्रीट लाइट्स ऑन हैं. This is much more interesting. It also looks like a busy street. It is capturing it. Elephant trunk गायब कर दिया to make it look little correct. In fact, like you will see the nose के आसपास कुछ weird सा limp आ रहा है which can be added in the negative prompting. uh, we can always make sure the trunk is bright white and strongly pointing upward. Okay, now run it again. Okay, let us see. Better. I mean, it is completely night, dark studio, and trunk is doing the task. The element is looking fine, although there's a deformity on the top of it, but it is fine by me. Still a better, you can say, image generation. In fact, the cars look fine. The previous image was also good. I was satisfied with that. But I think this is how you can use stable diffusion in your day-to-day life. This is the tutorial. I'll rest the tutorial here. You can always come back, people. See, in this 50 minutes of session or 1 hour of session, I'll try to justify, to prime you up with the stable diffusion, to guide you what stable diffusion is all about, explain you different sources where you can run it for free, guided you with some way in which you can prompt to get better images, shown you an example. We generated images using what we learned. Now there are many different style of images, okay, which can be learned and mastered. You can always request back Let's Upgrade to generate more interesting sessions on top of it. We can cover different styles of image generation for you. We can teach you a lot more things. You just have to come back to us, let us know what's the next thing that you want to learn, and we will be more than happy to teach you. So for now, this is all. Thank you so much for having us here today. I'll see you all soon in yet another session on Let's Upgrade. Till then, bye bye, tata, sayonara, good night to all of you.